Welcome back to Ether. Today's episode 29.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. 29. I like that number. That's actually I got power. There's some story we can talk about it some other time.
I don't think I know the story.
Yeah, my mom died when she
Oh,
was 29, so
oh.
there's a meaning to this 29. That's like a reborn. You end one life and then start a new life.
Yeah,
Right?
okay, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, episode 29, and we are talking about healing as usual. And we are facing one of the biggest healing time, all of us. So, we're going to keep continuing talking about this and how we can deal with it, right? And how individually we can heal and then we can heal the world. That's our goal.
Yeah, how we can heal ourselves personally, how we can heal our relationships with those who are closest to us, especially those that are across a divide of some kind. And then thereby, if we are all doing that, then we can heal the world. Right?
Yeah.
We heal our world, and then that heals the world.
Yeah. So let's jump in where we want to start. There's so many things we can talk about, right?
Yeah.
And where to start is the tricky part. But let's say where are we going to start? We can say
This one?
Sure.
Okay.
You can pick one.
Well, as always, before we jump in, questions and comments are welcome. Anybody who wants to join the conversation here, we're happy for you to come in and share your feelings, your perspective, and that enriches the conversation here.
Yeah, because we don't want to be one side, right? We want to welcome everybody's viewpoint, and so we can understand each other, right? And not just one-sided conversation, but we want to have all sides conversation.
Or maybe you want to start with this one here, just underneath it.
Or we can say there's more than one truth.
Okay.
Maybe?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, because
there's some different elements we're weaving together in this one.
There are more than one truth. I'm trying to read this one. If you want to,
we talked about it.
More than one truth. If you want to change, you can do.
Can't do the old way.
So you're having two things here.
Oh, that's two.
Yeah, that's two. More than one. I'm just gonna focus on this. More than one truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
There's one fact, one thing is happening, but the truth, how individual people receive is different, right? And then to one person, this is the truth, but from the other person, from different angle, that totally different thing might be true to that person, right? That's why there's so many things going on, like the news and the information, what to believe. It's so overwhelming. And then you look at this one and then you receive this information, look at different side and you receive totally different information. Which one's truth, right? Actually, they might be both true.
It might be, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's things are true. It's hard to express this, but
you changed it.
Yeah,
that was quick.
Yeah. So truth is true from a perspective. That's what we're getting at here, right?
Yeah.
The way you look at something defines what you see in it, right? You might be looking at the very same things, but you might see very different things.
Yeah, I can share one example, a totally different example, but let's say like the kids playing playing together nicely, and all of a sudden, mom, right? And my brother and sister, my brother destroyed my castle, Barbie castle. I built the big giant castle. Yeah, I saw that, right? And he destroyed it, and then all the Barbies there, and then the big castle destroyed, and the Barbies are all dead under, right? And so many victims happened. And then she is so upset. She is crying. She is angry, right? And my brother did it. And then, what? That's not good. And if I jump in and just listening to her report, right? And that's bad. And then her brother is bad. He did bad thing, right? You can think that way. Oh, wait. And then so I go there, and then I look at her brother, and now he's crying, and what's going on? And he's saying like, my sister hit me. And why? What? I don't know. I didn't do anything, but she hit me. And he's crying, and then look at the sister, and she's crying, and what's going on? Right? If you just hear brother's side, and he said he didn't do anything, and his sister hit her, that's bad, right? That's not right. And so which one to believe? If you're just hearing one side, the other side is going to be bad. It doesn't matter which side of story you hear, right? But now you're hearing both sides of story, and then what's going on here, right? And then let's say we have a camera that filming the whole thing in the room. Let's look at the camera, and then you just go rewind and start from, okay, they're playing nicely, and then actually the brother is moving. Oh, he got 2 cupcakes. He's picked one, and then walking toward his sister and to give that cupcake, and then just he wants to share, right? And then without him knowing it, his toe clipped the bottom of the castle, and then destroyed the castle.
Knocked it over.
No, he didn't know it. Just a little thing, and then it just happened and destroyed, and the whole castle went to ground, right? And then she saw it, and what are you doing? And she pushed him, and he's crying, right? Okay, this is actually what happened, right? But usually you don't have that camera for the whole world, right? So you have to just go with the stories, which story you go with, right? And then there's 2. This one was 2 stories, totally different stories if you just hear from one side, right? And then that's only 2 people, but if there are 3, 4, 5, that might be different truths are there, right? And then which side to believe is it can get very, very tricky, right? So because this could be more than one truth, and to them it's that truth, that is true, right? So you cannot just deal with one thing with just hearing one side of story, and that seems like that's what's happening.
That's happening in the world right now.
In the world, and then like I cannot speak the truth, especially I'm we're here in Canada, and the other side of the world, what's going on. The only resources from the media, right? Lots of different medias, news, but I'm not there. I'm not seeing the real
firsthand
thing.
necessarily.
With my own eyes, and I'm not feeling with my own hands, right? How can I tell what to believe, right? Like seeing is believing. You have that somewhere, but seeing is believing. If you don't That means if you don't see it, why you believe it blindly, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why we went. We talked about this in a previous episode. That's why we went to those demonstrations
to see
against the mandates, because we wanted to see for ourselves firsthand what was really going on. Right? You hear if you listen to the news, right? It's one story, and it was very, very negative. It was extremely negative. It sounded like they were violent, very intolerant. They were saying awful things about them in the news. The prime minister was saying awful things about it, right? So he was saying they're racist and they're misogynists, they're un-Canadian, they're uneducated, all that kind of stuff, right? Lots of things like that. And then you hear you hear from other people, like or on social media and stuff like that, that it's a very different thing, that they are looking to end the mandates, that they want some conversation about this out in the open. They want an open forum about it. And so we went to the events and saw for ourselves, right? So we had the camera in that situation, that one example, and checked it out for ourselves. And honestly, the media government position was not even remotely close. Not even. It's like
see anything
upside down, right? Like the opposite of what was true. I mean, yes, in any group, you will always see people who have. You'll always encounter people who have opinions. You take any crowd of people together. There's going to be people there with opinions that you don't agree with, right? Okay. So that's not a valid criticism, right? You get people at a hockey game together. Do you agree with everybody who's sitting in the seats, right? Do you think that if you talked about a serious subject, you'd all agree and you'd all be open-minded and enlightened and fully informed and very calm and welcoming and enjoying each other's company, even though they're very different opinions? I don't think so, right? So so there's not a valid criticism to come at it from that direction. So of course there are different viewpoints, but the real point of why everybody was there was just to end the mandates, was just to shine light onto the whole situation, to get some well, we're talking about this. There's more than one truth, right? They wanted to have their voice heard, their perspective heard. Where'd that comment go here? It's at the bottom. That's why. They wanted to have their perspective heard, and they had no voice, right? So the government had their perspective and their voice, and the media echoed that. And the truckers had, and everybody else who was standing with them had a different voice, a different perspective, but there was no platform for them to share their perspective, right? So it was very strange and very eye-opening to me, because I grew up in this country and I believe that we have freedom and we have the right to demonstrate. I believe that we have the right to protest, and I believe that we have the right to disagree with the government. Don't we? Right? Do we have that right? I'm not. I don't get it anymore, because that's what they use force in the end to push everybody away and to threaten them. They actually threatened them, and they froze their bank accounts. And I could go on, but anyway, I'll let you continue with what you're saying. So it's very different things.
They are saying this is only one truth. Only one right thing to do. Right?
Only one way. This way.
There's only one way. There's this right things to do is it's somewhere there in the banner too.
Top, I get that one.
Right. There's too much of we need to do the right things, but I personally I don't like the thinking of doing the right things. We talked about that, right?
So what does that mean? So Tomi, what do you mean you don't believe in doing the right thing? Hello? right?
Like if you're looking at things, oh, this is the right thing.
Yeah.
That means you're creating there's the wrong things, right? The right thing, usually you doing the right thing means somebody else, they are wrong, I am right.
Yeah, and
right?
also implies there's only one right thing
Yeah,
to do.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is my way, and this is the right thing.
Yeah.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you point in that person doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different ways to do one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there are right ways maybe
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
that person,
Mm-hmm.
but is that the right way for that person too?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then hey, you're doing it wrong. How do you know I'm doing it wrong?
Mm-hmm.
I can start arguing with that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I can't tolerate that kind of.
So, and what you're saying
Attitude.
with that is that when you take the perspective that there's only that you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you're sacrificing yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're by doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You are doing what has to be done, kind of
Yeah.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it. And then that means changing the situation,
Mm-hmm.
coming in and being the hero
Mm-hmm.
to fix everything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about this very much in depth. This is a big subject. This could be a whole different
Yeah,
episode. This
yeah,
one banner
probably,
here
yeah.
to
Mhm.
go into it and really
Yeah.
do it justice, but we'll just cover it very quickly here. By coming in and being the hero, you are fixing everything, right?
Mhm.
You're not inviting the other people to come in and join to work together to find a solution together. No,
Mhm.
you're coming in with your way,
Yeah.
right? And you are like, you're kind of bulldozing out everything else, right?
Mhm.
And that's like and that ties in with bringing justice, right? That there's that perspective of we've got to do the right thing. That's what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
we have to
I'm
do
doing
the right thing.
Yeah,
right?
and then we all have to do the right
Mhm.
thing, and we're bringing justice to the situation because it's the right thing,
Mhm.
and we're being the hero, or I'm being the hero.
Mhm.
It does not leave room for others
Mhm.
or other perspectives. It's a very
Yeah.
one-sided way of looking at
And
things.
of course,
Yeah,
it can go into tunnel vision,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then what there's the feeling, I don't know, you can feel it, but when they are doing the right thing, are they coming from love or fear? I'm going to ask you that question.
That's an excellent question, right? That's what we encourage people to always ask whenever they're facing choices and in a situation,
Mhm.
to step back a little bit and ask yourself if you're coming from love or fear, right? So it would be easy to answer in that situation and say, this is for love because I love people and I'm doing the right thing, right? I'm sacrificing myself. How could that not be for love, right? So it would be easy to answer from that perspective, and also like, this is bringing justice. It's the right thing, right? I'm being the hero. What could be more right than being the hero? What could be more from love, right?
Yeah, but is that really coming from love?
Yeah. So,
because if you are saying, I'm doing the right thing, everybody has to do the right thing. If somebody else is not doing the way you're doing it, you are sensing the fear somewhere.
you're afraid that they won't do it.
Yeah.
They won't do it too.
Yeah,
That they won't go
they're
along
not
with it.
doing it.
Yeah.
If they don't do it, it's something wrong's going to happen. That is laying somewhere underneath.
It's underneath.
Underneath there, you think people think they're doing out of love, but actually underneath there's a fear.
Yeah.
If they don't do it,
Yeah.
it's gonna be bad, right? Then it's not out of love, right? So that's why I really don't agree with doing the right thing. It's actually based on fear. it's got the mask of love,
Mm-hmm.
right? But no, I don't agree.
It's kind of corny to do this, but you could say doing the right thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does actually lend more wholeness to the statement that when you do it like that.
So yeah, that's why, like, and then there's so many people trying to do the right thing. It's yes, trying that I can respect that action, right? Respect
People
that.
taking action.
Yeah, trying to do the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, I respect that, but we want to step back and where is it coming from? Is it really coming from love? Or I'm afraid of if somebody is not doing it, it's some bad things going to happen. Do I feel that? And if you're feeling that, then it's coming from fear, not love.
Right. So that I'm going to repeat that. If there's just to summarize, because that's such an important point, and it's not it's not easy for people to understand because it's so there's so much. You watch any superhero movies,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's every movie has a hero and
Mm-hmm.
a villain,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell who the villain is. He's the one wearing the black hat.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell who the good guy is because he's wearing the white hat.
Mm-hmm.
Everything the good guy does is right,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we all identify ourselves as
Mm-hmm.
being the good guy, the one wearing the white hat,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's very deeply ingrained in our psychology
Mm-hmm.
to think that if we're the guy wearing the white hat,
Mm-hmm.
then we're automatically doing the right thing. We're
Mm-hmm.
doing justice,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We're bringing justice into the world. So when we act, it's out of justice, and it's automatically got to be out of love because we're the good guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying, though, is that if we are acting because we're afraid of something bad happening,
Mm-hmm.
if we're afraid of the other person not going along with it,
Mm-hmm.
then actually it's not coming from love.
Mm-hmm.
It only looks that way.
Yeah.
Because underneath that layer
Mm-hmm.
of what looks like love and doing
Mm-hmm.
good things and right things and justice and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Truth, justice, and the American way, right? That's a saying.
Okay.
'Cause it looks like we're bringing truth, justice, and the American
Mm-hmm.
way to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Then we wouldn't see, if we don't look past that,
Mm-hmm.
at our deeper motivation,
Mm-hmm.
like, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing this because we're afraid of the other
Mm-hmm.
guys doing something bad?
Mm-hmm.
You could look at that from like just one example. I'm not going to go deep on this, but
Mm-hmm.
think about the Iraq War,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Iraq War under George W. Bush,
Mhm.
right? There was the Twin Towers event,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can't have any more terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
There could be really bad things happening.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go out and do the right thing
Mhm.
and bring these bad guys to justice,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have to go out and do justice.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a disaster. That was an absolute disaster.
Mm-hmm.
In retrospect, right?
Mhm.
Hindsight is 2020, right? We can look back at it and say, yeah, that was flawed.
Mhm.
You can blame it all on bad intel. No, it's not. It's not just the bad intel. It's what we're talking about right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you mentioned here. This is a
Mhm.
huge point for our world today. Is that we are always talking ourselves into believing that we're the ones wearing the white hat and that we've got to do justice and do the right thing
Mhm.
and be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
And we can get ourselves into serious trouble that way
Mm-hmm.
if we don't look at our underlying motivation.
Yeah.
If our
That's-
underlying motivation really is based on love, then that
Yeah.
might be the right thing to do, right? Maybe. You've got to still look at all the
Mhm.
stuff, the situation.
But that
But if it isn't,
going
based on
underneath
love,
is a
then
tricky
for
part.
sure
Yeah.
it's not going to end up with good things.
Because,
So like with the kids you're talking about,
Yeah.
right? You hear the first story from your daughter,
Mhm.
and she says, "Oh, he wrecked my brother. He wrecked all
Mhm.
my
So
whole Barbie
many
castle.
victims!
Yeah,
So
all
many
the Barbies
Barbies
are dead. We have to have justice. Be the hero and come in and fix this, right?"
Mhm.
That then you would be in that situation. You'd be
Mhm.
like, "Oh no, my son is misbehaving,
Mhm.
right? This is clearly a bad situation. I better come in and fix it, or he might do something more that's wrong,
Mhm.
right? He might
Mhm.
continue this bad behavior,
Mhm.
right? So something bad might happen, so I better come in and fix it."
Mhm.
And if you acted on that,
Mhm.
that wouldn't have good results.
Mhm.
You wouldn't even hear his story that all he was doing was bringing cupcakes,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So there's more than one truth here
Yeah.
to look at in the world. There's
Mhm.
more than one way to look at things, and we
Yeah.
have to always have that
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, and then doing the right things, justice, and fear, actually, they're very close.
Yeah.
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 Very, very, very close. If you look around and people trying to do right things, just look around and see if you can feel fear in them. Right? You can start from there, and why they're saying I have to do the right thing, and then just step back and observe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Lots of times it's hard to see what's going on in ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's easier to see on others.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of sad, but that's the truth, one truth.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Well, that's in the Bible. It's easier to see the mote in your brother's eye than the log in your own.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe start to look around and then see if you can sense fear in
Mhm.
them, and then maybe you can understand.
Mm-hmm.
And those people thinking they're acting out of love, but is it really true?
Mhm.
Right? Let's go underneath,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then we can start to see what's really
Mhm.
happening,
Mhm.
right?
We're not saying, just to be very clear,
Mm-hmm.
that taking action is necessarily wrong, right?
Yeah, I want to take actions.
Yeah.
Everybody I want
Yeah.
everybody to take action,
Yeah.
but love, not fear.
Yeah.
Right?
So in that example you gave with your two kids,
Mm-hmm.
if you just acted on your daughter's first input,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been disaster. You would have come in, tried to be the hero and fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you just listened to your son,
Mm-hmm.
the same thing could have happened if he
Mhm.
came to you first, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you go in there and you listen to both and you see that there's more than one truth here,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're making sure that you're acting from love, not fear, because if you're
Mhm.
acting from fear, then you're going with one of their stories,
Mhm.
right? If you're acting from love,
Mm-hmm.
then you're being open
Mm-hmm.
to the whole picture,
Mm-hmm.
and then doing whatever you can in order to find your way through that situation to create a good resolution. You may not have the camera on to look back at it.
Yeah, that's the tricky part
Yeah.
in whole world. What's happening,
Yeah.
right?
So you can do there's certain things you can do in certain situations, like what we said about the trucker protests.
Mm-hmm.
We can go to them, so we did, right?
Mhm.
And so we had that camera
Mhm.
in that case, right?
Yeah. So it's really tricky to understand what's really happening,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's confusing and frustrating, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get angry and sad, and
Mhm.
it's so many things that's happening, and then that's why you don't want to just go with one story,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then as much as you can be open-minded and then listen to lots of different sides, maybe not just two sides, right?
Mhm.
Two sides of story, maybe 10 sides of story. You
Mhm.
don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I cannot speak what's happening in the world right
Mhm.
now, because don't have the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
Some people claim that they do, but okay, I listen to them, but I still don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, but we want to make action. We want to do something. We don't want to just sit in and wait it out and see what happens.
Yeah. Doing nothing with your kids,
yeah.
when the kids had that little event, broken Barbie
Yeah.
castle situation,
Yeah.
dead Barbies everywhere.
And then you neglect
If you just do nothing,
yeah.
that's also not good, because
Yeah.
you might be afraid of doing the wrong thing,
Mhm.
and you're motivated by fear again, right? So
Yeah.
it's not an easy process.
Yeah, it's really not easy,
Mhm.
but still we want to do our best. Checking ourselves
at every step of the way. Is it motivate? What's go down deep?
Yeah.
What's underlying the motivation here?
Because we might be tricking ourselves.
Yeah.
This is out of love. This is out of love.
Yeah.
Right?
We have good intentions. It's great intentions. We can fix things. We know what to do.
Yeah. I used to say, like, that wasn't my intention, right? When we used to have lots of argument, fight, and then I get upset about whatever he did, and then he said one of the excuses was, that wasn't my intention, right? And then I said, your intention here and your intention here and subconscious mind are different, right? And then you think you intended to do this, but no, that's not your true intention.
And I think from on my perspective on that is that now, after I've worked with this long enough, because this is a gift you brought to me, I did not have this insight. I've worked with it long enough now. Thankfully, we don't have those fights anymore. But I've been able to develop this. It's a skill to look underneath at the motivations more.
That surface.
Being the hero thing. And I gotten better at that. And I can tell you that the conscious mind loves that hero thing, and the subconscious mind loves all kinds of emotional motivations.
Fear.
And it can be fear that it grabs onto. It can be all kinds of stuff. It can be love too, but it's going to be love more. The amount of time you spend looking at it down underneath is going to be proportional to the amount of time that it's going to be motivated by love. So the more you look, the better it gets. And I've gone through that process. Right?
Yeah. So it always comes down to love or fear, right? Always, every step we take is one or the other, right? Always. And then we want to really self-check, especially right now. Self-check every step we take is motivated by love, not fear. And then to know that we really need to go down deep, not just your conscious thinking. So
there's this great quote from Einstein. You cannot solve our problem. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we used when we created them. So
that's a famous one.
And that's what we're facing in the world today, right? We've been trying to be the hero from day one. Just think about that, right? Isn't that true?
Yeah, I think so.
Canada, the U.S., we personally, right? Individually, haven't we always been trying to be the hero and do the right thing from the start? It's not all that often that we really consciously choose. It does happen with some people consciously choose to do the wrong thing, right? It does happen, but most of the time we are really, really going for it with this hero thing. And if you think about it, it's gotten us into trouble a lot.
And then the one who is consciously trying to do the wrong thing, I would say there's some reason behind it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like an individual level, like a next door, the neighbor kid or whoever
Neighbor kid.
trying to be a bad kid.
Oh, okay.
That level I'm talking about right
Yeah.
now, right? And he's not going along. He's doing the wrong thing, right? Not listening to the teacher, not listening to the parents.
Sure. Yeah.
There is a reason,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes
Why?
it's just teenager rebellion.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
why? And then we want to look into why.
A lot of times it's not because they're not
right?
being listened to.
You're not doing the right thing. You're doing the wrong thing, and then push them away. Does it solve the problem?
No, because you're not being listened to. That's what created the problem usually in the first place.
Right. So yeah. But anyway, where were we? We cannot solve problems. It's same thinking.
Yeah. So and that's what's going on here is that hero thing with underlying motivation being based on fear, that's what gets us into trouble. And we can't keep doing that.
Yeah, we want to change. We want to do something different, something new that we haven't done to solve this problem, right? To get out of this wherever we are, right? We cannot just keep doing the same thing, doing the right thing. If doing the right thing brought us here, then we have to let go of that and then think. I'm not saying you have to start doing the wrong thing. It's not just right or wrong. Just put those right or wrong thing away, and then maybe switch to love or fear, right? So that's what we believe it can change, right, and heal.
Yes, if we're acting based on love, then we actually can fix things, right?
Because doing the right thing, it divides us. Right?
Yes.
If we got
based on what we were saying.
Yeah.
it sounds a little funny.
You're
doing
wrong.
the right thing divides us. Yes.
Right, the right thing. And then what happens is like a world as one, if we got divided, world as one has 100% power. If we got divided, let's say we got divided 50 and 50, just make it easy. Right? And then one group only have 50% of power, not 100%. Now it's half the power, right? And then it's easy to control whoever up here if we only have half the power. And if we fight, right? And then let's say one won and then 50 left, not two 50s. And that's easier for them, right? And if we keep fighting till we are nothing, it's gonna be zero power, and then they're laughing, right? So that division isn't the solution. You're doing it wrong, you're doing it right, and divides us, and that just weakens us. Disempowers us, and that's not good. Because why it's happening? Because we're doing it out of fear. Whew. This is intense conversation.
It is.
Yeah, I get kind of emotional here, but so
that's a saying. United we stand, divided we fall. It kind of summarizes what you're saying.
So so how we can make it like empower ourselves, and this divided world can come together, and so we have 100% power back, right?
Through love.
Through love. That's what keeps saying.
Not the right thing. Genuinely being motivated from love.
Every step we take. Have to come out of love. And then it's easy to say that a hard part is going deeper than you've been doing, right? deeper and check subconscious, right? Check your fear. Where is it coming from? And don't just say, yeah, it's coming from love. Don't just stop there.
That's what, that little voice that says, yeah, of course it's coming from love.
Yeah,
that's the one that gets us in trouble.
Yeah,
that one. That little voice.
Yeah,
oh yeah, sure,
conscious.
you're doing great.
So you have to
Paula,
challenge.
Paula, you're doing great stuff.
Yeah,
of course you're right. Of course you're based on love.
Yeah, challenge your own voice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, like I kept challenging your voice, and that made us go into big argument. But so.
But it did resolve.
Yeah.
And we worked through it, and now it is based on love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so love, not love, not fear, and then.
Now,
What we can do
this
is
one right here will take a little bit more time. Do you want to go to this?
Sure.
Okay.
So one exercise we can do is lots of people know about this oponopono. It's from Hawaii, and like a healing work. You can say that, right? And it's those 4 phrases. I am sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. Right? So this is actually really powerful. I want to share one story, how showing how powerful it is a Hawaiian doctor. He got hired at this Hawaii hospital for criminals. I don't have the official name for it, but the Hawaii Hospital for Criminals.
So like they would have been inmates, but they would have had mental challenges, right? It's a hospital.
Yeah.
So, criminal hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those inmates are like a probably maximum, right? And really, really intense, like energy was intense. And then all the inmates were, how do you call it? They are handcuffed and leg and
ankle
ankles.
cuffs or whatever they call them.
Inside the building.
Shackles.
Yeah, shackles. Yeah. Doesn't matter where they go, they're always shackled and never free. And because staff were so scared, and so the energy was so intense. And the funny, I shouldn't call it funny, but the weird thing is that the paint on the wall, it didn't stick. That's like, how did it happen? But it's
so they tried painting.
Yeah.
Tried painting the walls inside this prison, but the paint would fall off.
Yeah, it just didn't stick. And then the energy is so bad, and paint didn't want to stay there, right? The material, the paint, physical paint, no, I don't want to stay here.
That's right? A weird fact in this whole story.
Yeah, but that's the I read that story, and that's what they're mentioning. Right? And then so the inmates not allowed to go outside and do stuff. There's a ground that they can play tennis or whatever, but nobody's allowing them to go outside. Nobody's freeing them, like always shackled, right? And then even there in that way, doctors, staff, when they pass by, they're almost like going like this away and then walking along that.
Staying far away from them as they're passing in the hallways they can.
Yeah. That kind of thing is happening. And the doctors who were sent to the hospital, they don't last like a couple months. They're gone because it's just too much, and then they get depressed.
So these are psychiatric doctors.
Yeah. They get depressed, and they couldn't. Lots of staff don't show up to work because it's too much. They call in sick, happening all the time. And then that was this facility hospital, right? And then this new doctor, Dr. Stanley Hugh Len, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing his name, Hugh, H-E-W, Hugh, L-E-N, Len, Hugh Len. Okay. He was sent to this hospital, and the staff have no expectation, right? And another one.
Another one.
Yeah, another one not gonna last, right? And then, but he was different. He was smiley, cheerful, and the energy was light, and then stuff was like, it's different, right? But anyway, and then he started working there. And once in a while, this doctor, Dr. Hugh Len, asked the staff for inmates' file, and then take those files into his office, and he just reads, right? And then a few months after, something started to change, right? And then inmates' energy start to shift, and the staff are feeling like, okay, maybe they can take off the shackles, right? So they were becoming a little more free, and so are not handcuffed or ankle cuffed, and they were walking down the hallway freely. And then they go outside and ground and playing tennis and stuff with staff. That never happened, and it started to do that.
Wow. Okay.
What's going on, right? And then again, Dr. Hugh Len, he keep reading the files in his office. Not like he's not intensively working with inmates, nothing that just by the staff that I'm reading. It's nothing really happening, but the one thing he was doing was reading the files.
So he spent a lot of time with the patient's files. That's where he spent most of his time.
Yeah, and not so much medication was happening. That's what I heard. And then, so it was changing, right?
So the energy in the facility, in the prison, was changing, and the people's behavior was changing. So
and
they were becoming
they're mentally healthy.
They're becoming more mentally healthy, and they were able to interact with each other more freely. No shackles and stuff and handcuffs, and they're able to go outside and play tennis.
And staff was feeling safe enough
Safe
to
and comfortable.
play, right? And then 4 years that he was working there, at the end of the 4 years, there were only few inmates in the facility, so they have to close the hospital because there are no more inmates that needs the
So
help.
we were able to release them because they become healthy enough to be reintroduced back into society. Wow. Okay.
And then the facility doesn't
mentally healthy and
doesn't
not
need
dangerous
it
anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like oh my God. And we talked about this, like we do healing business, but our goal is people come to this state that they don't need the healing, right? Healing professionals. If they're healthy, we're not needed. But that's what we want, right? And we're gonna find something else. But our goal is them being healed, and then we're gonna lose our job. But that's great,
else.
right? That's great. And he did that.
That's amazing.
The whole hospital full of inmates, and right, and it was gone, right, and that's amazing. And what happened? What he did is actually this whole oponopono, right? And when he grabbed the inmate's file, he go through, and he was an empath, and so he can feel inmates' pain, physical pain, emotional pain, psychological pain, right? He feels it, and he connect with that pain, and then he repeat this, I am sorry, as like that's his own pain, right? He was treating as his own pain, and I am sorry.
So he was first of all, he was connecting to the So you take the file
Mm-hmm.
from the inmate patient, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he would take it into his office.
Mm-hmm.
He'd open it up, and then he would connect to that patient,
Mm-hmm.
inmate,
Mm-hmm.
and their pain because
Yeah,
he's an empath.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he would be in their pain,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would do this prayer, the
Mm-hmm.
Ho'oponopono prayer.
Yeah. So I am sorry, right? Forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You have to mean it. You have to feel it and then mean it, right? And then own it, own the responsibility of that pain and whatever happening, right? Like Ho'oponopono is, I was reading it. Yeah, it's right there.
It's too much to put on the banner.
Yeah. It's based on the belief that we create our own environment. There are no external forces responsible for what is taking place within our surroundings. If your boss is evil, you're responsible. If your children are not doing well in school, you're responsible. World wars and poverty are your responsibility. The bottom line is that the world belongs to you. It is your responsibility to take care of it. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that the problems are your fault. It simply means that you need to heal yourself in order to heal the situation that you find distressing. And
So that is very big what you're saying.
Mhm.
So you're saying that it's typically what we do when we look at a situation that we come into. It's us, and there's a dividing line, and then there's other people, right? And there's us, a dividing line, and the world, right? And that dividing line is very, very, to us, it's very real, right?
Yeah.
That we're all separate, right? What this Ho'oponopono is saying is that no, we're all connected, not like a little bit connected, like the little thread going between me and Satomi here. No, what it's saying by what you're reading, what you're saying there is that we are the same.
We are one.
So if you wreck the dollhouse,
I did
then
it.
I own that as much as you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what it's saying.
That's not saying it's your fault.
Not my fault.
Yeah.
It's just that
You are responsible.
I'm part of the solution. That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
To fix the situation with the dollhouse, I'm there and I'm part of it.
It's not like hey, it's your fault, right? That's happening so much. That's their fault.
Pointing
that's
fingers.
their fault.
Yeah.
Right? No, let's own the responsibility as one.
Together.
Yeah.
So forget about what happened, I guess, about what to create the problem. We own it. Let's work it. Let's work on it.
And if we accept that, then healing can happen. That's what Dr. Hugh Len did. But starting from not one person, one doctor, probably, of course, he had a support from staff and everybody, and then inmates gonna do their own healing too. But he started as one person, and he healed the whole hospital, right? And then did I mention that paint?
Yeah.
It stayed.
Wait, I was going to ask you that because I forgot when we were talking about this earlier to ask you that one question. We're in too much of a rush. So what you're saying is before Dr. Hewlin came along, paint wouldn't stick to the walls. After he did the whole Ho'oponopono thing and healed so many of the patients, I guess it was long before they shut it down. They tried painting again, and the paint stuck.
Yeah, and then so the paint, of course, brighten the facility up, and it helps, of course, right?
So the energy in that space. So in that, like I can imagine a criminal mental hospital energy has got to be some seriously heavy energy going on.
I wouldn't choose to work
and normally we don't talk about energy so much. We talk about subconscious beliefs, and because that directs the energy, right? It's more, it seems more something we can get our hands on more, right? Identify what it is. To me, when you talk about energy, it's a little bit hard to grab what you're talking about, right? So sometimes it loses meaning, but for sure, you can sense it when you walk into a room, right? You can feel the energy in the room, whether that's, the bubbly energy of everybody excited at an event or something, right? Or the energy that's really down because everybody's like bored or everybody's angry or something. So inside of that hospital, for sure, there would have its own energy, right? So what you're saying is the energy was so negative there that paint actually wouldn't function properly and wouldn't stick to the walls.
Yeah.
That is an amazing fact. And then and then even more amazing is that after he did his work,
and the energy started to shift.
The energy shifted enough in the hospital to the point where the paint would function.
And they were able to paint the wall.
So this is, oh my God, that's like this. You could easily say, oh yeah, right? It's so easy to say that, right? It's like, yeah, give me a break, right? That is so easy to say, and I get that. But what if we entertain the possibility that is all connected, right? So maybe the humidity was too high when they tried to paint the first time or something. I don't know, or it was too cold. When it's too cold, paint doesn't stick.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just too cold, and you'd have to do some more scientific experiments on this. I gotta, that one begs for more investigation, but I love the concept.
Yeah.
I love the concept, and if that's.
But Hawaii, I don't know, it gets that cold.
No, well, yeah, I mean, maybe on top of the mountain or something, or I don't know. But so yeah, I guess that's a good point. But so I'm not familiar with how much humidity affects it or something. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Maybe they didn't clean the surface properly or something first before they tried painting the first time.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there.
Maybe because they didn't have energy to clean. That's all same thing, right?
So, but that's. I would love to see more. Somebody go and test that somewhere, right? Go into these very different places and see if it actually affects the physical properties of things.
That would be interesting.
It's along the lines of Dr. Emoto, right? That one part of the story. Yeah. It's a little bit like Dr. Emoto and the water, right? How it affects the crystals that form, right? Yeah. So like you can put that energy into water, right? And you can put the love energy in, you can put the hate energy, angry energy, or the forgiveness energy. All those ones he's got, right, are grateful, and it's beautiful work. That's one I would like to see firsthand, right? I would like to see that firsthand.
And
the same as this paint thing. That's very interesting. Right? Yeah.
And if it works for water, it should work.
Maybe it could work for paint too. Maybe maybe that's what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of same thing.
Yeah. Similar.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah. But anyways, so let's go back to this Ho'oponopono. He proved, Dr. Hugh Len proved that it really, the way he was doing it, it's Ho'oponopono. I wouldn't say that's the only thing he did. Of course, as a doctor, he did lots of other things too, but it's not the medication that's mentioned in the book. Not the special medication he did, not the special, he was working more closely to inmates. It's not that. Basically, this is the thing. The one thing that separated the work that he did. Also, the way he carried himself, right, through the whole thing. It sounded like he stayed in a centered, positive space in spite of the environment being the way it was. So him having that presence eventually changed the space that he was in. Yeah, right? And he healed his surrounding. He healed his world. His world. And that's how we can heal our world. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why we are presenting this one, Ho'oponopono, today. I am sorry. Forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Really want to connect and really want to mean it and feel it, right? And now miracle happened. So for me,
Like I know some people who have been on the other side of this mandate thing,
Mhm.
right? And I've had these big debates, and there's division, right? And that's why people are so fractured and separated right now, right? So when when I'm working with this, I feel it, right? So the way it works for me is to picture that person, is to basically, I'm kind of like opening the file for that person, and I'm sitting there with that person. I'm going into their space, and I'm in some way, in some fashion, empathically connecting with them, right? By just simply sitting with them, right? They don't have to be present. I'm just holding my thoughts toward them, my connection to them, my affection toward them. Maybe I'll think about good times with them or something, right? And then if I go with this prayer and I really mean it, right? So I mean it. I am sorry because I've said things in anger about this whole thing, about the whole mandate thing, right? I've gotten angry, and so I am sorry, right? And please forgive me, right? And if I'm holding that person in my heart as I say that, then it really, I can really feel, I really connect to it, and it's very powerful. And then being grateful for that other person, right? Having that gratitude for that person, just them being them. Not, you don't have to think about focus on what divides you. You focus on what connects you, right?
Because we are connected, right? We are. I want to say we are one. We are like we were together, we are one, and then so saying thank you, you are appreciating that they are part of my life, right? And without them, the world is not the same. Some people would think, without them, the world would be better. Some people might think that way, but we came this
that's the perspective that comes before the forgiveness, right? You have to come into the forgiveness.
So after you say sorry and forgive me, and then appreciation of being together, and then I love you is like love toward ourselves. It's saying I love you it's coming back to ourselves, because we are together, we are one, right? So we have to love each other and have to love ourselves, right? So it's really, really powerful for phrases. So
so
to do that.
The way I like to say it is like, I am sorry and really mean it, right? Hold that person in your perspective. I am sorry, really mean it. Forgive me, really mean it, right? Really feel it. Thank you, really mean it. I love you, again, really mean it. And by going through that, it's very, very powerful. I love it. And that restores our relationships with others, with ourselves, and that heals our world. If each one of us does that, then the world's problems, they go away.
Start with like
the paint will stick.
Start with one person if you want, right? Or the whole, you can think of the earth, right? Toward the earth, you can say, I'm sorry, forgive me. If you want to do that, that's great. Now you can pick who you are saying those phrases. But let's do this one, and then once you try, and let us know how you felt after doing this exercise. something shifted, something changed,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And you might be able to feel some big shift,
Mm-hmm.
and we like to hear
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next week, Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Aether, and be sure to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I'll just put out another announcement. I mean, like we're moving a bunch of content over to Rumble,
Mm-hmm.
so please check that out. We have a Sakaso channel on Rumble now. So yeah, we'd love to see you guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bless you.